Here to discuss formatting a resume. We have a resume that was written up. It looks like it was done on a typewriter. First thing we want to do is to make it look good. I should say more than that, the fonts. I do Control A to highlight all the text. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make it Times New Roman. You could choose a font, any one that you like, as long as it looks professional. I'll try. Times New Roman can be a little bit dull, but you don't want to go into something too cursive, okay? So I'll find something within this range here that would be appropriate for this student or this person. I'll use Bookman. Looks pretty good. And what we want to do here in some areas here, you might want to center stuff. I highlight that. You click on the center icon. You want that to stand out. I make it bold. I can make it 14 point. Or I could click on this thing here to increase the font. So that stands out. It's going off the line here. What you could do, she did put her email. I could get rid of this. It stands out pretty nicely here. I could make this even bigger. Click on that big A there. You have that in there. Next thing we want to do, we want to have certain captions highlighted, selected to look correct. So I'm going to make experience, let's say, bold. And underlined. So I have that in there. And it has things here. I could repeat this again. So we're getting things here where they see what's going on. If I want to highlight more than one range, I click here, hold down the Control key. I have that there. So I can just do Control B, Control U. So we have that in there. If you look at this text here, do you see how it's a little bit squishy? I'm going to use this Control key here. I have these four things done now. I want to spread out the font just a little bit. I click inside there, or Control D, and then I could just go into the character spacing here, and then I could just make it, let's say, 3.5. See how it's breathing a little more? Looks a little nicer. I could even do it in here with the name there, and just go into here, make it, maybe say 5.0. Spread it out a little bit. Next thing I want to do, you might want a bullet text here. When you're doing bullets, you always have the same, what's the word I was going to say? Style of bullet. Don't have it going different ways where it looks like a ransom note. I want to use, let's say, this square bullet here. You can go into custom. I want to pull it back to the border. Decrease the indent. Have that done there. And you could see that we are going to a second page here. We could also change the margins here. To do that, you click on Layout, Margins. I'm going to go to Custom Margins at the very bottom there. I can make the top and the bottom 1/2 inch. Just typing it in, I say OK. We'll see what happens later on with this, okay? And when you have a job here, this person had this job here. We don't need this parenthesis here. Be consistent here. But we have this in here. I could highlight this, make it bold. This line was already italic. That's good. And this person did these things here. I'm not talking about the writing, but it is important that you have clear writing, proper capitalization here. Except when we see veterans here, that should be a small v. It's not a proper noun. And let's say what I want to do now, she has experience, work experience. If we want to get things, I want to talk about tabs. She hit the tab key here. You get that arrow here. You don't want to be hitting the space bar to get it over there. Don't do that. I have one tab here. Let's say I want this text even with the right margin. Let's say for education, other things here. So what you're going to do, I'm in here on there in that line. I want to set a tab. You have the ruler. You view the ruler if you don't have it. So I want to put in a right tab. You go to the far left of your screen here, and it shows these little L's here. I click there, second time, I have a right tab. I click right here. And when I clicked on that there, it put the tab in there. And I want to just click in here again. It's going over to here. That's not where I wanted it. I could pull this out. And what I'm going to do at this point here, I'm just going to pull this over to here. Try to be careful when you're working with these things here, okay? These hanging indents and more. And I click right here. Now it's going over to there. This is a nice feature. You can use the Format Painter. Oops, not the File button. I'm going to click on the Home. I click on the Format Painter right there. And then I just click after this line here. Unfortunately, there is some blank spaces here. Just backspace them out. And it's giving you a blue underline now and then because you shouldn't have to have trailing blanks here. I had the paragraph markers on. You could shut this off if you wanted to preview it. So you've got that in here. So I could go into here and I want to show you another nice thing you can do. You can create a style. It is a lot more powerful than just using the Format Painter. For example, let's say I want this to be italic. Highlight this, Control I. Every time you hit that return, you're in a paragraph here. I have this here. So what I'm going to do here, you really don't have to highlight, but I will in this one case. I want to create a style where I set a tab, the text is italic. And to do that, I click inside that drop down arrow there, the launcher here. I want to create a new style. New style. It's going to be based on what is highlighted. And let's say I want to call this Resume Title. If I spell it right. And it shows all the things done in here. Resume Title. I say OK. Now watch this. I go into the Housatonic Community College one, and if I go into here, you're going to see someplace in here, Resume Title. It's right there. See how it formats that whole line? I could go into Nursing Major. Again, Resume Title. It shows it there too. You can customize things here, and let's say you want the years there. I click on Resume Title here. But the thing is, I don't have a tab set. Press the tab key. I could go into here too. Again, I could highlight all these lines here. I didn't even have to highlight all. It has Resume Title there. When you're doing things here, you might want spaces between the dashes here. And I want to talk about something, the M dash, the wider dash, and what it is. I'm going to say 12 space after the dash, June. I'm going to hit the backspace key now. It gives you a wider dash. Looks a little more elegant. So what we have here, we've got extracurricular activities here with some good information in here. And what you can do in here, you could bullet the text in this area here. However, when I go into here, I'm going to just highlight all this and bullet it, and I can undo in a minute. I click on that square bullet, pull it back to the left. Okay, and it's all in one little paragraph there. But where it says position held, what you would want to do at this point here, easy way to do this, I don't want that bullet there. I could hold down the soft return Shift Enter. So you got position held, shortstop, third base. Again, if we go into here, we can do the bullet again. Shows it there. And then what I want to do here, then we have soccer, bullet, delete this thing here, Captain Striker. It is fitting on the page, okay? I'm going to close out this style thing here. It looks a little crowded though. If I do a Control P, this is what it looks like on the page. But you want to clean things up just a little bit here. You want to make it look less crowded. She did a good job here, but watch this. I have this section here. I delete. I could put this into columns. So I can highlight these lines here. And if I click on layout, I click on columns, I'm going to make it 2. So I've got these 2 columns here. What it wants to do is go to the next page here. What I want to do, I want to go and put National Honor Society onto the second half. So to get that in here, you're on layout. I click before N in National Honor Society. Or I could click over here. You might have to experiment with this. I go to breaks. I select section breaks. It goes into here. You want to find a column break, which is up here. So I did this in the right location. However, it's dangling here. I hit the delete key. It shows the section break here. Now I need that bullet again. So to do that, I go back on the home, and then I could just click on the bullet, and again, and it's not working here. It gets bizarre sometimes. I'm going to hit the enter key once here. Now the bullet is showing up. So we've got that in here. Other thing too, I want to put a little space in between these lines here. It's crowded. So to do this, I can hit the enter key again if I want to. That's the easy way. So I have that there. I've got those right tabs from that style that we created. And let's say if I preview this again, it looks good. I'm trying to show you things here to show how to get things to work on the page. Back into here. What I'm going to do at this point now, I could put this into columns too. I highlight these, the text here. I go into layout. I click on columns, make it 2. And this broke it up beautifully where you've got things looking good with white space in between here. And always do things most recent at the top, the other one oldest at the bottom. So we'll do a preview here. It looks good. The font sizes that I would recommend, don't ever go below 10 point. 12 point is the largest I would say to go to unless you're doing a caption. And let's say for a final thing here, you want to put a nice border in between this area and down below. You're on the home tab. You click on borders and shading, and then you go to borders and shading at the bottom here. And then what I want to do, I just want to put a nice little style underneath, like a line of some sort here. You don't want to make it look like a ruffle or something inappropriate. You got that. I only want underneath. I tick off these 3 things here. I say, okay, I've got the resume. I'm working with the paragraph markers on. I shut it off, and I go through here, and you can see that it looks good with visual consistency. The one thing I do see over here, I might want this tabbed over to the right. I hit the tab. I keep saving the work. So you've gone from primitive to beautiful.